Hello everyone and welcome to my presentation on interprocess communication using gRPC. My name is Ayush Jain, and so let us begin with understanding of what is interprocess communication, right? So in the operating system course we have learned that the mechanism by which the operating system allocates the shared memory or the shared data to the different processes is done using this interprocess communication. Now, what if the processes are distributed on not just a single machine but on a distributed system, wherein a process on one system needs to access memory on or needs to communicate with another process which is running somewhere on another system, right? So interprocess communication is a way, right, in which we can communicate. So it is an underlying mechanism, and gRPC is a framework which is using the interprocess communication to support this type of calls. So first of all, giving a brief overview of gRPC. So gRPC is a free and open source framework, and it was first initially built by Google, and now it is a part of Cloud Native Computation Foundation. So it is a serious project right now because even the Kubernetes, Docker, these are the projects of CNCF. So it is going to see a sharp rise, and its popularity is increasing. In the simple and layman terms, gRPC allows us to define request and response for the RPC. So this is in a very layman terms that we do not care about the underlying technology, we do not care about the underlying language, and also about the n different factors. Now, first of all, why do we need to use gRPC and why not anything else for the interprocess communication? Now, the advantage of gRPC is first of all that it is built on the top of HTTP2 protocol. Now, most of the interprocess communication frameworks are using HTTP 1.01, which has a lot of severe problems, but gRPC is the first one to use the HTTP2 protocol, and also it is having a very low latency, and it supports streaming. Now streaming, we will be seeing the client side, server side, and bidirectional streaming as well, and the gRPC framework is language independent, so it is very easy for us to use gRPC and to expose the gRPC, to expose the APIs on the different frameworks of the microservices that we're trying to make. So also with gRPC you get easy authentication plugins, and you can easily apply load balancing to the APIs that you are going to make, and also from the performance point of view you can easily monitor the performance matrices by logging and monitoring with gRPC. So nextly, we are using the word RPC again and again. So what is actually RPC? So RPC stands for remote procedure call, and in simple or layman terms we can see the image right here that we have a client code which is written in any particular language, and we have a server code which is written on any other language. Now this client code and the server code did not be on the same machine, right? But using the remote procedure call in the client code, it seems the function that we are using is, for example, over here server.createUser, the function that we are using in the client code, it is appearing as if this function is written in this particular machine itself, right? We are just using server.createUser function and then passing the user object or parameter. Now this createUser function is written on some other machine which is in the server code, and it is also written in any other language, and this is the beauty of RPC. Now using the gRPC, the very first image, if you go to the grpc.io website for the explanation, is this example. Now this example states that we have a gRPC server and it is written in C++, right? So for example, this is a gRPC server and it is a C++ service. Now we have multiple clients. First of all, one is the Ruby client and another is an Android Java client. Now we can communicate between the server and various clients using the protocol request and response. Now this is a very typical example in which we can see that it is a language independent server. There are few protocols, the request and the response protocols, through which the communication is taking place between the server and the client. Now what are the different kinds of RPC that we have in the gRPC framework? So first of all, let me shift myself over here. Yeah, this is good. So there are four different kind of RPC that gRPC offers. So the first one is very basic, and it is just a typical request and response model, and wherein you create a stub, which is again a gRPC term. It's simple as if the client sends a request to the RPC server and waits for the response. Now the second type of RPC is the server-side streaming RPC. Now in the server-side streaming RPC, what happens is that the client sends a request to the server and it gets a stream to read a sequence of messages back. Now counter to the server-side streaming is the client-side streaming. Now in client-side streaming, the client writes a sequence of messages and it sends back to the server using a provided stream. Now bidirectional streaming is when both client and server sends a sequence of messages using a read-write stream. At the core of gRPC, we have the protocol buffers. So now what is a protocol buffer that we are going to see next. And so if you want to understand gRPC, then you need to have a brief understanding of protocol buffers. Now protocol buffers is a protocol, as you can understand, and it is also developed by Google, but there are a series of advantages on using protocol buffers as a mode or as a means of communication instead of the HTTP JSON format. For example, the protocol buffer is replaced in against the JSON format, which is typically used by the APIs for communicating between the, so for example, web APIs generally communicate using the JSON format, and this gRPC does not use JSON as a mode of communication. It is using protocol buffers. Now the major advantage is of the small payload. The JSON is using a lot of payload, which is nothing but the data size which we are communicating, and protocol buffers are not using that much payload, and it is very efficient in when it comes to transporting a large amount of data over the network. Now first of all, if once you have the understanding of protocol buffers, next thing what you have to do is write your own services in the .proto file, and this .proto file services that you are writing is scalable to millions of RPCs per second. So the moment you write any service in the .proto file, you do not have to worry about the scalability of your APIs, right? So this is very interesting and very important feature when you are building your microservices. Now why we are using protocol buffers in gRPC over the JSON format? So first of all, it is language agnostic, as I already said that it is not written in any particular language. Protocol buffers are just language agnostic, which means that you can convert this code into almost any language of your choice. Secondly, over here the data is binary and efficiently serialized. Over here, as we already talked about, as in case of JSON format, we have a very large payload, but in case of protocol buffers, the data is always a binary and we can efficiently serialize this, and therefore it is having a very low payload as compared to the JSON format, and thus it is making and thus it makes it very easy and convenient for transporting lot of data. Now next is this is probably the last slide, I guess, and it is understanding of how the gRPC workflow happens, right? So first of all, we are going to define the services, and we are going to define our all the API call all the services that we are going to make, which is nothing but the request and the response in the .proto file, right? So this is where the step 1 is, and that we are going to define our services. Now the step 2 is compilation of those services. Now, gRPC has its own proto compiler, which is responsible for compiling your particular .proto file into the language of your choice. Now you can create you can compile this into almost 11 or 12 languages by now, and these are the officially supported languages, and there are unofficially supported languages. For example, Swift, etc. are gRPC implementation for the compilation is done in that as well. Now once you have the generated code for your compiled files, then you can now communicate with the you can now create your own gRPC server code and the client code, and that is your implementation, right? So this was a brief overview of the inter-process communication using gRPC, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much.